You are now listening to WSN Wolf Sports Network, live from the University of West Georgia in Carrollton, now an Odyssey station.
Live from Carrollton, Georgia, this is Sports Pack.
Home of the hottest takes and the best interviews in college radio.
Hold on, wait a minute. We need a little more energy. This is Sports Pack. Yeah, there we go.
Home of the hottest takes and debates.
There is no way I'm going to sit here and roll with Jared Stidham and Aiden O'Connell.
Richard.
There's just no way.
And the best interviews in college radio.
This is five-time Olympic medalist Alana Myers-Taylor.
This is Super Bowl champion quarterback Brad Johnson, and you're listening to Sports Pack on the Wolf Sports Network.
And the Wolves play here.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to another beautiful Monday edition of Sports Pack. As always, I'm your host, Richard Reed, joined by Carly Pear, Jackson Schrader,
What's going on?
My guy John Halley, killing it on the board as per usual.
Appreciate it.
And I know you see a guy next to John right now. You're like, hold on, I know John doesn't have a black twin brother. So I'm like, what's going on here? This is our guy Keyshawn right here. He just joined the WHIP program, which means he's training to become a full-time volunteer here at the station. And he's shadowing John at the board. And let me tell you, Keyshawn, there's no better guy to shadow than my boy John Halley. He's going to make sure you know how to do everything. You'll be able to run this board blindfolded by the time he's done. Now, look, we have a jam-packed and loaded show to get into today. Obviously, the day after the Super Bowl, we're going to be diving into that game shortly. A lot of craziness going on in college basketball right now as we get closer and closer to Selection Sunday and the March Madness tournament. The NBA has their last week before the All-Star break, and everybody here knows that after All-Star break is when the season really gets rolling and a whole bunch of sports news coming at you too. But before we get started, I must remind you, Dine West is committing to offering a diverse menu that accommodates to a wide range of dietary preferences, including vegan, gluten-free, and multicultural options. Their menu changes daily, and you can view the weekly changes to their menu for both East Commons and West Commons dining halls at westga.edu/dinewest. That is westga.edu/dinewest. Now, did you know in a recent survey, almost 53% of full-time college students ages 18 to 22 drank alcohol in the past month? That is why the Crafty Rabbit Meadery has joined Wolf Sports Network and Wolf Radio's Drink Responsibly campaign, reminding you that there is no drinking under the age of 21, to never drink and drive, even if it's only one beer, and to add food and water when you drink so you don't end up texting your ex. Take it from me. That almost always ends poorly. Know your limits. Wolf Radio and Wolf Sports Network is proud to Wolf Radio and Wolf Sports Network are proud to boost literacy rates with our pre-K book drive. Our ongoing book drive will provide new or gently used books to every child at UWG's pre-K monthly. Give today by visiting wolfradio.com/book drive. Together, Wolf Radio and Wolf Sports Network will make a brighter future. That is wolfradio.com/book drive.
As Widener rolls to the right, he's got some time. Everybody's down at the end zone. He heaves it, and it is caught for a touchdown.
We are one. Go Wolves.
We are one, and you know how springtime gets. We have sports galore here at UWG. In the fall, it's still busy. We've got football games and volleyball games, but right now, we've got softball kicking off. Yep. Baseball getting started this Friday. Men's and women's basketball are both in the heart of their seasons. And we got indoor track going on right now as well. So, Carly, I want to start with you. Walk us through that amazing weekend our softball team just had in their first ever D1 action.
Yes, so they traveled up to Boiling Springs, North Carolina, and very first game of their D1 era against Drexel, 15 to 1.
So you dropped 50?
Yeah, sorry.
Gosh.
15 to 1. Absolutely insane. They also secured 2 more wins versus Gardner-Webb and Howard, and then they had another matchup against Gardner-Webb. They lost that one, not by much, 5-3, but they got some pretty dominant wins over the weekend. I'm super excited about this softball team. The chemistry's there. They're they're just on a roll. So I'm super excited to see how the rest of the season is going to play out.
Yeah, this is amazing to see. Like, we finally get another team that's like, this team could be really, really good, because these wins were against really, really good opponents. You know, Drexel, Gardner-Webb, and Howard are established Division I programs, and we walked in there and we got ours. So it's really great to see this. We play Mercer on Wednesday, and man, if we beat Mercer, I'm gonna have some high hopes for this season. That's for sure.
I'll say if we beat Mercer, I'm gonna be riding the high hopes train the whole season. I mean, I'm
for real.
I think it's great with the 3-1 start this weekend, and it really just shows that they went hard on the portal for this first year Division I, and they want to build a program to win, because I know at one point we used to be really good at softball years ago, and recently it's not been as good. So I'm just
it feels like it's been ages since then.
Yeah, so I'm just on the hype train of, hey, we started 3-1. Let's keep pushing and going.
Yeah, this 3-1 start's great, especially after we look at last season, even the season before that. Softball team's been struggling. Last season was much better than the year prior, but this year, starting off 3-1, I don't want to move too fast here, but I'm with the rest of y'all. If they have another win against Mercer, and a very impressive win, like if they beat Mercer like 10-3 or something crazy like that, which I'm not expecting. I'm expecting a realistic match, but I'm still expecting them to win the game. But if they come in and blow out Mercer, I am buying all the West Georgia softball stock available. Look, it don't take much to get me drunk on some West Georgia Kool-Aid. So if they come in and dominate this week against Mercer, I'm buying all that stock. But they're not the only baseball team. They're not the only team playing this week. I'm talking about baseball. There's softball. It's not the same thing. See, I was trying to get a nice transition going, but I'm still a little. Look, man, it's Monday after the Super Bowl. It's that Super Bowl hangover. We're talking about before the show. This should be a national holiday. But we out here thugging it out anyway. But this Friday, February 14th, yes, on Valentine's Day. So for all you losers with no date, come join me. I also don't have a date this weekend on Friday at our baseball team's tip-off game. Tip-off game. I'm all over the place.
Opening day.
At opening day for West Georgia's baseball team.
Combining all the sports today.
Dude, I'm all over the place. Like I said, I'm still recovering from the Super Bowl. But they are hosting New Orleans University. One game on Friday at 4, a doubleheader on Saturday. First game starting at 2, second game starting at 5. And they are ending this 4-game series on Sunday at 1 p.m. So if you're sitting around with nothing to do, or if you're looking for something to do, maybe your date likes baseball. Maybe he or she does it. Maybe you want to get them out of their comfort zone a little bit. Buy yourself more time to think of something else. Take them to the West Georgia baseball game, man. It's going to be a great experience. Our team was solid last year, solid the year before. Looking for them to take big strides, just like our softball team this season.
For sure.
Might as well pull up and check them out, man. Also, this week, we have a home basketball game this Thursday. An away game this Thursday the 13th, man. I am struggling today, but it's okay. I'm gonna get it down, man. I'm gonna get it down. This Thursday the 13th, our men's basketball team will be on the road at Eastern Kentucky University. Man, we're really looking to see them get it back on track, man. The last game against North Alabama, losing 78-61 this past Saturday. Game before that, the Lipscomb losing 76-67, falling apart in the second half. This men's basketball team has a long way to go. It's been a really rough season. But I tell you what, Schrader, a team that me and you have talked about a lot this season. Our women's basketball team has been great this year. I know you got a lot to say about them.
Yeah, I mean, this team, I don't know, they've been playing really good ball, and I think it's kind of bad how this is going to sound, but I think the men's team being so bad has really helped this women's basketball team in popularity on campus.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a much more entertaining brand of basketball to watch.
Right.
If we're being honest.
Yeah, for sure. And we got 2 home games this week. We got Austin Peay on Wednesday, and then North Alabama for alumni night. Think pink. Like it's gonna be a great week in the Coliseum for sure. So if you haven't gone to any women's basketball games, go to some women's basketball games. They're free if you're a student. They're not very expensive if you're not, and they're always a good time. So be sure to go.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there. I'm really excited, and really just it's also good for the women's team. And also they won against Queens on Saturday, 56-49. I was very excited to see that because Queens is actually a very good team in the ASUN for women's basketball, so it helps a lot. So I'm kind of hoping come ASUN conference play or not conference tournament, maybe we sneak in there a little bit, shock a little bit of people. It's close, so I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, it'd be nice to shock the world there. If any of one of our teams is going to do it, it can be this women's basketball team. But before we move on and dive into the Super Bowl, we will be remiss if we moved on without talking about how our men's track team, not our men's track team, our Division I track team has been killing it in indoor. Carly?
Oh, yeah. They just got back from the Green and Gold Invitational hosted by UAB. So if you're not familiar, the University of Alabama at Birmingham, super great school, really good athletics. And I'm telling you, this track and field team brought the heat. I mean, they broke record after record for UWG.
14 of them.
Yeah, 14
Dang.
records.
14 school records in one meet.
records.
Insane.
Team's legit.
And even 2 girls broke a record and then broke the other girl's record. So Chloe LeBlanc, she broke the UWG 600 meter record, and then later on Alexis Dahl re-broke the record. So it was just one after the other. This team's doing really cool things. So, I mean, it is a good day for women's sports here at UWG.
Seriously, and West Georgia sports overall are looking up
Yeah.
this spring. I'm super excited to see what the future has in store. But before we get into the rest of that, let's go back to the past a little bit and talk about last night's Super Bowl. In the NFL, only one thing matters: chasing a dynasty. And let me tell you, last night, the Kansas City Chiefs had a chance
Crazy.
to make history, being the first team in the Super Bowl era to win 3 straight Super Bowls. It started beating the Philadelphia Eagles 2 years ago. Then last year, they beat the San Francisco 49ers. And it all came to a head last night in Louisiana, where they had a chance to come full circle and beat the same Philadelphia Eagles team that they beat 2 years prior to get their 3rd straight ring. But let me tell you something. That Philadelphia team remembered that Super Bowl from a few years back.
Yep.
They
sure
remembered
did.
they had chance after chance to win that game. A costly Jalen Hurts fumble, a holding call on the last drive of the game really put that game out of reach and gave the Kansas City Chiefs that Super Bowl. And they came out for blood, outright dominating the Kansas City Chiefs. At one point, they were up 34-0 against the then 15-2 Kansas City Chiefs, going on to win this game 40-22. But that game was nowhere near as close as the final score says.
Nowhere.
There's so many different ways to attack this game. So, Carly, I want to start with you. What are a few things you noticed in this game that made it easy for the Eagles to walk away with this one, the Super Bowl champions?
Yeah, I think in terms of like watching Patrick Mahomes, like he struggled so much, especially with turnovers, throwing interceptions, just so unlike him. I remember seeing something after the game was over, and it was like the GOAT talk is over. The GOAT debate between Mahomes and Brady is over. Like it's still Brady now, which that's a whole other topic for another time. But
can of worms.
I mean, this Eagles defense completely shut down this Chiefs offense. I mean, it was just honestly so bizarre to see the Chiefs not acting the way that they have in the past. But also, a lot of our predictions here at the station, if you didn't see, go check out on our Instagram, Wool
There
Sports
was
Network.
one man who stood strong. That was
Yes.
Joey Prater himself.
Yes,
Yeah, Joey was close.
Yes, I remember Joey. He's one of the volunteers at our station. He runs TriCaster a lot for us. But I remember looking at his score, and
his
I was
original
like,
prediction.
Yeah, he said like 42-18.
yeah, and I was like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah,
no,
everybody
he was
thought
the
that was
closest
dumb.
Yeah, I
one.
thought Joey was tripping.
Yeah.
But Joey had the closest score prediction. I think I
Yeah.
said 27-24 Eagles, but he said 42-18. He was just about right on the money.
Yeah.
I don't think Joey knew how close he was going to be. I think he just kind of spit something out, pulled something out of his butt there. But look, Joey got it done. He would have won a lot more money than me on that game. But we both
same.
picked the Eagles. That's one thing. So, John,
Yes.
when looking at this game, Carly talked about how we didn't get a vintage Mahomes performance. A lot of that is largely because how their offensive line imploded. They had two
Dude,
turnstiles
that was
over there at
wild.
tackle. The Eagles' defensive line dominated with 6, 7 sacks at the end of the
Something
game.
around that.
Mahomes was constantly under pressure up until the very end, where he got a few big shots off to Xavier Worthy. But outside of those two plays, which are really an outlier, the offensive line was dominated. I know you played offensive line in high school. You love talking about offensive line.
I sure do.
When it comes to looking at draft prospects or anything else, what did you notice from that Chiefs offensive line that made it so easy for the Eagles D-line to dominate?
I mean, really, they were bringing the pressure on them. They would stack the box, and therefore they were able to just punch right through them. Really, their best offensive lineman from that was their center, Creed Humphreys. I've always been a fan of Creed Humphreys on the Chiefs. He plays really solid ball, but next thing I kept seeing is all these offensive linemen are just getting beat, and they're holding. A lot of missed holding calls
There
from
were a
that.
lot of
So
misholding
many.
calls.
So many.
That's
but
all
you just-
Kansas City could do.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
all you could do. And then you have to have Mahomes run around. And when it's like that, when your offensive line is holding on every single play, you're getting beat. You're not anticipating. Like I go back to the week 1 of the Falcons. You didn't anticipate TJ Watt. They weren't anticipating any of this. So they got they got ran down and it got embarrassed, and it really affected Mahomes. And then obviously we just saw the dominant defensive line from the Eagles eat up on there with Sweat and what's the other?
Sweat, Jalen Carter,
Just look at the roster.
Nolan Smith,
Absolutely
Brandon Graham. They just got dogs up and down that roster.
So it's now I guess for the Chiefs, your main focus is let's go get better offensive linemen, or do you need a new offensive line coach?
Right. Looking forward to the NFL draft coming up. The Chiefs need to go offensive line. They do not have what it takes at tackle. They have Rashee Rice, who will be healthy again next year at receiver. Maybe they keep Hollywood Brown. Maybe they don't. But their biggest concern right now is offensive line. They didn't even have a chance to run the ball because they got behind so fast.
When they tried to, it got blown up, and Isaiah Pacheco got absolutely swallowed up in the backfield.
Exactly. Yeah. But here's the thing. We just talked about how dominant the Eagles' defensive line was. But if you looked at this game, Schrader, from bird's eye view and be like, look, that Chiefs defense did a great job of containing Saquon Barkley.
They held Saquon to under 3 yards a carry. It was like 2.3. Like they did what we said. Hey, like if you were to tell me before this game that Saquon Barkley was going to have 2.3 yards a carry, and you asked me who I thought was going to win the Super Bowl, I would not say Philadelphia.
Right, I'd say Kansas City.
But Jalen Hurts stepped up big time. Mm-hmm. Aside from that one pick he threw, which was just a bad decision, there was pressure coming at him, and he just kind of chucked the ball.
Yeah, he just got it out of there.
Aside from that, Jalen Hurts played an MVP caliber performance. Now, I think the MVP should have gone to my man Josh Sweat on the defense, former Seminole, having 2.5 sacks, 2 tackles for losses. I mean, he balled out, but Jalen Hurts stepped up. He did what I thought he couldn't do. We haven't seen him play that well in a long time.
Right. Since that season 2 years ago, where he was one of the front runners for MVP.
Yeah, when he got them to the Super Bowl the first time. So it was a really good game from Jalen Hurts, and Saquon. I mean, he wasn't completely out of it. Saquon still affected that game.
Still had 25 carries, 57 yards.
Those 2.3 yards, man. They wore that defense down. He had one heck of a catch at some point in that game. So it was just a great performance, coaching wise, on the field from the Eagles. So they just went out there and they put belt to booty, man.
Yeah, straight belt to booty. I couldn't have said it better myself. Like when we just look at this game, like you just mentioned, Saquon still played a really big part of it, because a lot of people are sitting back looking at it like, man, he only had 3 yards, actually 2.3 yards a carry. He really didn't do much of anything, but he actually did a lot. Yeah. They still gave him the ball 25 times, only getting 2.5, not even 2.5 yards per clip, but they still kept handing him the ball. Why? Because of how dynamic of a weapon he is. He has over 2,500 rushing yards this season.
That's a lot.
He's terrifying. The Chiefs defense, even though they were containing him, they couldn't fall back. They had to keep bringing them safeties down in the box. They had to keep the linebackers ready for the Saquon Barkley run, because at any time it could have been on his 23rd carry or his 19th carry. He could break for 70. Because if he gets to that second level, nobody's going to get him. So you have a running back like that, and you have an offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore that stays committed to handing him the ball. That's what opens up the pass game in those rushing lanes for Jalen Hurts. Those safeties have to come down. They're watching the hard play action. They're biting on it every time because of how terrifying Saquon Barkley is for a defense. And that's why guys like Devontae Smith, Jahan Dotson, and A.J. Brown were screaming wide open down the field time and time again, because the team was terrified. And then after hitting a few of those deep shots, that's what opened up those big-time rushing lanes for Jalen Hurts, because the linebackers, everybody falling back in coverage, looking for another deep drag route or another deep shot going down the field. Then Jalen Hurts has time, takes off up the middle, and ends up with 11 rushes for 72 yards. Well, it was just a complete team win from Philly.
That's what I was saying, because you talk about Thursday saying that talking about focusing on Saquon so much and how effective he was running the ball. I think that's what the Chiefs did too much. They focused too much on Saquon running the ball, not that he ran for, handed off to him 25 times.
Right.
But when you focus on it so much, you roll all those extra guys down in the box. When you have to drop back into coverage, it doesn't help you. And I think that really affected their game last night.
But honestly, I think it helped them as much as they could have asked for. I just feel like it was the perfect storm.
That defense was out there so much too. Like at the beginning of that game, the defense was doing pretty good. It was just once you started to see Mahomes go, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. They didn't have a play in Philadelphia territory until like the third quarter, maybe the fourth quarter.
It was mid-third quarter.
Exactly. So when you do that, your defense, no matter how they line up, they're not going to be able to stop.
When you're dealing with weapons like that, like I just mentioned, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, is still thinking about Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts. There's really nothing you can do. And to go back to the point you just made, John, I don't think there is such thing as over planning for Saquon Barkley.
No.
Because this NFL season, outside of Jamar Chase, has been the ultimate weapon on an offense. That's the kind of guy that you build your entire game plan around. If I was Steve Spagnuolo, that's the Kansas City Chiefs defensive coordinator, I would have done the same thing.
Yep.
I would have been like, we will not let Saquon Barkley beat us. If the Eagles beat us, it's going to have to be on the arm of Jalen Hurts. And let me tell you, Jalen Hurts came through, delivered 17 for 22, 221 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and 1 on the ground via the tush push. He rose to the occasion and won Super Bowl MVP, got his first ring. And what did he say last night in the press conference? This should have been ring number 2. The Philadelphia Eagles, man, it's looking like they're here to stay. We got a lot of great teams around the NFL, though. So you have the Detroit Lions, who are going to be healthy again next year. The Washington Commanders have made their way through the ranks. The Atlanta Falcons soon going to add Myles Garrett. That's going to make them an overnight Super Bowl contender. It's going to be a great NFL season next year, man. I know it's only February 10th, but I'm already looking forward to next season. Now, before we take a quick song break, let me just remind you, Dine West will soon introduce new stations, including a ramen station and a Fuel for Performance nutrient station at West Commons Dining Hall. These additions are designed to provide more choices and to cater to different types of nutritional needs. More information is located at UWG_Dine_West on Instagram. We'll be right back. We're going to take a quick song break, but stay tuned because when we get back, we're going to dive into this wild college basketball weekend, talk about this NBA week before All-Star break. This is Sports Pack on Wolf Sports Network.
You are listening to Sports Pack here on Wolf Sports Network, your home for all things UWG athletics.
Wolf Sports Network is going to have you covered with content for every day of the week, Monday through Friday. Sports Pack is bringing you all the news in the sports world today on Mondays and Thursdays at 6. Sports Out of Pocket is bringing you sports commentary with a comedic twist on Wednesdays at 5. And sit back and relax and grab your favorite snack because Triple Threat is bringing you the chill content on Fridays at 11. And we have a brand new show coming to Wolf Sports Network, The Playbook, where they talk about everything going on in the college sports world on Tuesdays at 6. So make sure you're tuning in Monday through Friday for all the content Wolf Sports Network is bringing you this semester.
Hey, do you want to be a part of Wolf Sports Network?
Yeah!
Well, I have some good news for you because you can join us.
Woohoo!
So if you want to learn more about this, go to wolfsportsnetwork.com and click WIT Sports Program. With becoming a WIT, you expand your knowledge in the sports radio world and join our ever-growing family.
New face over there, you're not tripping. We got my guy JT over here shadowing the board. He's running through a WIT program right now.
Oh.
Brandon, how you feeling, baby? Welcome to Sports
I'm feeling
Pack.
great being on here for the first time.
And we can't wait to meet you once you join us.
Sports fans, are you looking for a show where you can see other sports fans sharing in your misery and excitement? Then Sports Out of Pocket is for you, because we're fans too, and we experience our highs.
Bertigine is not a safety. He's just a corner who will lock down your number one.
And our lows.
Trayshawn Ward. Screw you, buddy. You were on our team last year, and you gave us no mercy, okay?
So join us every Wednesday at 5 to cheer and boo along with us, only on Wolf Sports Network.
It's a tale as old as time. All good things must come to an end. But this final ride is going to be legendary.
Oh, yeah.
More legendary than this.
Is this the dagger?
And this.
Diggs! Sideline! Touchdown!
So be sure to listen to Triple Threat every Friday starting at 11. Only on Wolf Sports Network.
You are now listening to WSN.
Sox for the win!
Let's talk some college hoops. Let me tell you, man, we had a wild weekend this weekend in college basketball, starting with the game me and my dad were watching earlier this weekend. The Duke Blue Devils going on the road to take on the Clemson Tigers. Now, I know on the surface you might think, Clemson's that's not a basketball school. They're always good in football. They might be a little decent in baseball every now and again. But look, man, the Clemson Tigers are 19-5 right now, 11-2 in conference play. At the time, they weren't ranked in the top 25. I think they just crept in. Let me check the bottom.
Yes, 23rd.
Yeah, they're ranked number 23 team in the country right now. But before that, they were an unranked team. So a lot of people overlooked them. But this is that exact same Clemson Tigers team that made a very, very, very deep run into the tournament this past year. And they're looking to do it again right now, coming up with a big-time win against the Duke Blue Devils, 77-71, and Dick Vitale's first game back in,
Yes, sir.
2 years, Raider?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so excited that Dick Vitale is back. You know, he's battled cancer, I think, twice in these 2 years. He's had it, he's gone into remission, and then he's gotten it again, and he just keeps beating it. So it's a good thing to see that he's back, and especially back on the court side. And we get to hear "Awesome, baby." So I'm just so happy that Dick Vitale's back.
Dude, listening to Dickie V talk during this game was amazing. He was talking about his story, how he was with his most recent battle with cancer. Dude, he said he went 6 months without speaking.
Yeah, he has to do that because it's like throat cancer, vocal cord cancer.
Yep.
I watched a documentary on it, and it's like at one point he had to go like a year without talking.
It's crazy. That's scary.
Dude, he's the definition of perseverance. Like that
For
right
real,
there. Dude, his journey has been incredible and is still one of the best commentators in the sport.
Yes.
Every time Dickie V is on a game, I know it's going to be a classic. Even if it's a 50-point blowout, it's still going to be a super entertaining game.
He's going to make it fun.
Exactly. He's going to make it fun no matter what. But this game didn't need much help making it fun. Cooper Flagg started off very, very slow, but ended off with 18 points overall. Tyrese Proctor dropped 23 to keep Duke in it. But Clemson just ended up being a little bit too much. With 22 points from Lincoln, Chase Hunter dropping 14, Zachary dropping 12. This Clemson team up and down had a complete game. Cooper Flagg starting off slow helped them out in the long run, but at the end they stayed strong and were able to beat the Duke Blue Devils. Now, Lim. I forgot to introduce Lim, man. Y'all already know Lim by now. He came on once already this semester. Y'all figure him and Carly don't look that much alike. Y'all knew something different up here. But Lim, I know you got a lot to say about this game, man. What are a few things that stood out, or just what you're looking at in the overall tournament picture after this big-time win from Clemson?
Yeah, Clemson, I mean, teams got to watch out for them. They upset Kentucky earlier this year, and Kentucky was ranked. And Kentucky beat Gonzaga this year, so that just goes to show. And I mentioned earlier, I think on one of the shows last semester, that any team can be beaten in college basketball. And I like Clemson a lot. I like their big man Victor Lakin. I like Chase Hunter.
Yeah, Chase Hunter's a beast, man. Real deal point guard.
Yeah, Chase Hunter's nice, and they got Jaden Zachary. I mean, they play tough. And Ian Shefflin, I like how he plays down low. So Clemson, when they play with energy and when they play like they want to win, they win. So shout out to Clemson. Yeah, shout out to Clemson for getting that dub and getting back into the top 25. But Duke is still good though. I still have Duke.
Really good team.
Duke can make a good run in this tournament this year.
Yeah, Duke's an Elite 8 team for sure.
Exactly. So I like Concanipple. I can't even say his last name. Concanipple, Tyrese Proctor, Cooper Flagg, obviously. Hopefully they bounce back from this loss. But yeah. Good win by Clemson, man.
Yeah, I think Duke will bounce back. They're a super deep team led by probably the best player in the country in all of college basketball this year, Cooper Flagg. He'll most likely go number 1 overall. Super well coached, have great depth, like I just said, very experienced. Duke is going to be a very sneaky team. I could see them making a Sweet 16, maybe even the Elite 8. They're really good up and down. But like you just said, Lim, anybody can lose any given day in college basketball. That's what makes the March Madness tournament so entertaining. And this past weekend, we saw the number 1 team in the country go down to the Florida Gators, the Auburn Tigers, losing 90-81. Super entertaining game, just showing how great SEC basketball is. Because the Florida Gators had a complete performance. 17 points from Alex Condon. Walter Clayton Jr. giving them 19 points, 12 points, 10 points here, 16 points there. Up and down the roster, they had guys in the double figures, and Auburn still only lost by 9 points. Getting 18 points from the 38-year-old superstar Janai Broome. I mean, they're a freakishly good team, and Florida had their best night this night. Up and down, defensively, they were solid. Still gave up 81 points, though. Offensively, they were amazing, and they still only won by 9. This right here, this game, to me, perfectly captures how great the SEC is up and down, that the best teams can have their best nights and still barely sneak out a win against another team. Crazy. This conference is ridiculous, and going into the tournament, it's going to be a toss-up picking who's going to win it.
Yeah.
So good it left you speechless, right?
I mean, like you said, Richard, SEC, it's crazy. Like, Vanderbilt's good. Like, this
Missouri's good.
Oh, yeah.
Texas A&M is really
Texas
good.
A&M,
they just cracked in the top 10.
I think Ole Miss was ranked too, and Mississippi. Was it Mississippi State?
Yes, they're ranked.
Mississippi State.
Ole Miss and Mississippi State are both ranked.
So, I mean, the SEC, great conference this year, man. Like, I mean, Auburn, they only lost 2 games this year. It's crazy, man. So, shout out to Florida for getting that. I think they played in Auburn.
Yes, they played in Auburn.
They played in Auburn, right? So, yeah.
That's huge.
So, shout out to Florida for getting that win. I hope Auburn's still not ranked number 1. I hope
No,
that's
they
not the
still
case.
are.
Yeah, they're still number 1.
They're
That's
still number
crazy.
one.
They're still number 1.
They shouldn't. Alabama should be
I don't know,
ranked
man.
number 1.
That's a hard team to move from the number 1 spot. They've got.
So
Yeah,
they were on a
they're good,
14-game win streak, and that 14-game win streak was pure dominance up until this point.
I still think they're probably the best team in the country right now. They should be ranked number 1, but like you said, Lem, Alabama is right there at them. Alabama just about has the exact same team as they had last year when they made that Final Four run, but adding more depth than guys like Youngblood from the transfer portal. Alabama is once again another team from the SEC that can make a big-time title run.
Yeah.
But it ain't just the SEC. The Big East is still playing great basketball as well. This past Friday night, there was a great top 25 matchup in the Big East with the St. John's Red Storm going to Connecticut to take on the two-time back-to-back defending champions, the UConn Huskies, and escaping with a 68-62 win. Now, UConn started off extremely hot. Like, UConn's guys could not miss. Solo Ball had 13 points, majority of them coming in the first quarter, jumped out on St. John's. But the way this Rick Pitino-led St. John's team, yes, Rick Pitino's their head coach, and you know just as well as I do, if Rick Pitino's coaching your team, they're going to play some defense and they're going to leave it all on the court. And that is exactly what they did against UConn. They just kept doing their thing, kept getting to the paint, scoring 2 points, getting to the free throw line, making their free throws, and playing lockdown defense the entire game. Worked their way back into it, took the air out of the ball, suffocated UConn in the end, and came away with a 6-point win. So when I'm looking at the way this St. John's team just played a very talented UConn team, maybe not as good as the past 2 years UConn's teams, but those are historic teams. But the way St. John has played against them, suffocating defense, consistent offense, always getting into and living in the painted area, this is a team that can be dangerous for anybody to play against in the tournament, especially them high-powered teams from the SEC like Alabama, those fast-paced teams. You get a team like St. John's that's going to slow you down offensively and defensively. Exactly, Shrey. It's going to throw you off completely.
Yeah, like Alabama, I want to touch on the point you mentioned with Alabama, right? So Alabama, when they played against Georgia earlier, Georgia's playing really good defense, but Alabama just tough on offense. And Kadari Richmond on St. John's, that boy cold.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Kadari Richmond cold, boy. He cold. So shout out to him. Shout out to St. John's and their players over there. We going to see how the rest of their season goes, man. So, yeah,
it's gonna be fun to watch. They're currently sitting at 21-3 right now after a big win against UConn.
21-3. St. John's 21-3.
St. John's is 21-3, 12-1 in the Big East Conference.
Yeah, they're good.
But you know the Big East is good now. The Big East is good top to bottom.
This is fun, man.
Creighton's won 6 games in a row.
Yeah.
UConn's still floating around out there. You've got all kind of schools in the Big East that can always shake things up. So going forward, after moving to Selection Sunday, obviously people are gonna be watching the Big 10, the SEC tournament, the Big 12 tournament. Purdue's looking like they're going to be the favorite going into the Big 10 tournament.
Don't
when
forget
you're
about
looking,
the ACC.
do not forget about the ACC.
We're
and
here.
do not forget about the Big East because they are always in the mix when it comes to Sweet 16 and Elite 8 basketball. Now, let's talk about the NBA.
Rebound Bosch. Back out to Allen. His three-pointer. Tie game with 5 seconds remaining.
Baby, let's talk some NBA. Now, the recent trade deadline news has gotten everybody back roped into the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy Butler's now a Golden State Warrior. Anthony Davis is a Dallas Maverick. He's back in street clothes as per usual, but he's a Dallas Maverick and looked great in the first half against the Rockets when they played them the other day. Luka Doncic is now an LA Laker.
Wow.
The NBA looks totally different.
Yeah.
And it's the perfect time to get people roped in because the Super Bowl just went by, and this is the last week of the season before All-Star break. So, Lim, I want to start with you. What are a few things that you want to see from some teams in this last week of the season, and what are you looking forward to this weekend, this All-Star weekend?
Yeah, just looking at the Western Conference, the Western Conference, I mean, the competition up there is amped up right now.
Yeah, it is.
You got De'Aaron Fox, first game as a Spur, getting a double-double, 24 points, 13 assists versus
against
the
the Hawks, yeah.
Against
Dude,
the
he's a
Hawks.
dog.
That hurts.
And I'm like, I'm like, oh, he's not playing. He's
Playing
on the
no
Spurs.
games.
And in the game versus Charlotte, I think they lost that game, but I think he had a double-double that game too, if
Yeah,
I'm
he
not
did.
mistaken. So De'Aaron Fox, he's making his presence known early on the Spurs, and he's letting people know, hey, we're here. We want to go to the playoffs. We want to make people know our names. And like you mentioned the other show, Stephon Castle, I'm really high on him too. I love Stephon Castle. So shout out to him. And AD had a good game. First game as a Maverick too.
Yeah, he did. He balled out.
Even though he got
He had what,
Short-lived.
26 points, 13 rebounds in the first
crazy.
half.
Yeah.
He went off.
That's crazy. So I mean, shout out to AD. Even though he got hurt, I mean, he was amped. You see him talking to the Mavs crowd. He's like, "Yeah, I'm here. I'm here." Like, bro, I love to see that. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
Even though this trade deadline, people got a lot of thoughts about it. I love to see AD like being like it seems like he's just amped up to play basketball in Dallas right now. So I love to see that. So and this All-Star weekend. The format is kind of different. We got 3 teams. I don't know how I feel about it.
So
it's weird.
What are the details on this new format? Because I've been reading some things about it, but I still don't fully understand it. Like, what is the new All-Star format?
So I could tell you a couple of things. So they have Shaq, Kenny, and Charles Barkley are the coaches now.
Good Lord, Charles Barkley's coaching. Yeah, Charles Barkley coaching a basketball team for All-Star weekend,
bro.
But they got 8 players on each team, so it's not going to be like 2 teams going back and forth. It's going to be 3 teams, and I think it's going to be like a tournament style thing or something like that. So I want to see how this plays out. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. We'll see. But
there's still a dunk contest.
Yeah, there's still a dunk contest.
That's all I care about.
Of course, it's still a
dunk contest, 3-point contest.
All that, you can't get rid of that kind of stuff.
No, you can't. You can't.
The NBA just needs to go back to 2016, bro.
Dude.
Just
East
go back
West.
to 2016.
That's what I'm saying.
East versus West.
Yep.
Dude, that was the one in Toronto, right? Where it was Kobe, LeBron. I mean, the best dunk
contest. Isn't that the one where Westbrook won MVP?
Was that?
Maybe.
Was that
I'm not
2016?
sure.
I don't know.
I'm just thinking 2016 was Klay Thompson winning the 3-point contest.
Yep.
It was Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon having probably the greatest dunk contest of all time.
Yes.
That All-Star game was amazing. I mean, it was, dude, like, Curry was playing the best ball, some of the best ball of his
MVP
career.
Curry.
Like
that was really the last year it seemed like people really cared about All-Star Weekend. And I'm not
It
talking
was.
about people as in fans. I'm talking about the players.
Yeah.
That's like the last time they all left it out on the court, went really hard in the paint in the dunk contest, 3-point contest, and in the All-Star game period.
Dude, the skills challenge was fun back then too.
Bro.
The entirety of All-Star Weekend used to be must-see TV. And I know a lot of Hawks fans were saying, you know what, the hell with it. I'm done. I'm not even going to watch it. I'm not even going to cut on my TV anymore. But now that Giannis isn't participating in the All-Star Weekend, Trae Young has gotten a pity All-Star bid. Does that fix anything for y'all? Does that make y'all interested in it, or are y'all still like, screw the All-Star game?
I mean, I'm a Heat fan, so we got a guy get in, on his first try. So I mean, I've kind of been looking forward to watching Tyler play a little bit, but that is what it is.
I was saying, when I saw the news this morning, I looked at it and said, oh, okay, he's going in, whatever. It
Yeah,
didn't really excite because I think it's more exciting if you originally picked to be in the All-Star game, but Giannis doesn't want to play. Okay, cool, yeah,
Instead
Trey's going in.
bid.
Yeah, instead of getting pity, I just let it go. Okay, cool, whatever, and just put my phone down. So,
it's kind of like how Drake made the Pro Bowl this year because Lamar Jackson didn't want to participate. I mean, it's kind of like, even though Trae Young is a lot better than Drake May is, even though they play completely different sports,
you scale it. There's a big difference.
They're in two different worlds. Trae Young should have been an All-Star anyway, but the point still stands. Do you really feel the same way about it, knowing that they left you out previously? Trae Young made some tweets about it, posted about it. I was like, hey, man, I'm used to getting left out of the All-Star game at this point. Now they kind of throw you back into it because one of their other guys aren't available. I feel like it kind of devalues it in a way, but if you love the game, I guess you love the game. I guess it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But I don't really know how to feel about it. I know a lot of Hawks fans are iffy on it. They're like, screw the NBA. He should have been in there anyway. Same way LaMelo Ball should be in it because he got the fan vote. I mean, there's a lot of weird things about All-Star Weekend and a lot of things that really need to be fixed to keep fans interested going forward.
And another thing is, I think they got like a score limit they're going to this season, and I don't really like that because
score limit.
I think they got
they're
like
playing
a
to
score
like 21, but not 21.
Yeah, they're playing to I don't know what.
It's probably like 156 or something weird like that.
Yeah, and it's like we're gonna see how it plays out this year, and the NBA they're implementing new things like they got the NBA in-game tournament or not in-season tournament.
Yeah, in-season tournament.
And then they got the NBA Cup. So it's a lot of things the NBA is doing to try to get more fans to watch basketball or whatever.
They're trying.
I feel like
I don't think it's working.
It's not working.
I don't think it's working.
It's not working.
What I'm saying? So, but I mean, hey, we'll see if the NBA continues to do their thing and make things better.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see.
But But we're talking too far in the future. We're talking about the All-Star Weekend. Now it is this weekend, but they're still getting some games tonight.
Yeah,
we're just talking about the Atlanta Hawks. They're currently on the road, going to take on the 26-28 Magic right now, a team that's 16-9 at home, and the Hawks are 13-15 away. So it's not going to be easy. The Magic are a really talented team, but the Hawks have had their days as well. So that's a really wishy-washy team in the East. Two teams really battling for a spot in that play-in tournament. So we're going to see how that goes. Another big-time matchup, though. The Minnesota Timberwolves went to the Western Conference this past season. going on the road to Cleveland to take on the 42-10 Cleveland Cavaliers.
Dang.
That team has been one of the hottest teams in the league this season.
It's so wild to me because I don't keep up with the NBA that much. And going into this season, I knew that Cleveland had Donovan Mitchell. And outside of that, I thought they were just a bad team with Donovan Mitchell.
Right.
And then they started off
like
they started off 15-0, something crazy like that. Now they're sitting at 42-10. Like they're able to sustain the success. It's crazy. They came out of nowhere to me.
Yeah, the Cavs team, they have a great team. I mean, they're big. Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, and Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland in their guard play with Karis LeVert. I mean, they have more of a complete team because everybody's playing their role. Yeah, everybody's playing their role. Everybody's playing basketball, playing good basketball, efficient basketball. Chemistry's on point. So, I mean, I don't think the Cavs lose this game. But again, in the NBA, anything can happen. Minnesota can win. So we'll see how that game goes.
And Anthony Edwards been playing out of his mind the past couple weeks leading into the All-Star break. Everybody knows he's one of the best superstars in the NBA right now. He's looking to be the face of the league in a few years when guys like Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and LeBron James retire. So this is going to be a great game to watch.
Dark days.
Two very young teams with young superstars facing off head-to-head tonight. It's going to be very, very, very entertaining. Now, I must remind you that binge drinking is consuming five or more drinks on one occasion for males and 4 drinks or more for females. However, some students drink at least twice that amount. That is why the Crafty Rabbit Meadery has joined forces with Wolf Sports Network and Wolf Radio's Drink Responsibly campaigns to make sure our wolves stay safe when drinking. Never drink under the age of 21 and always have a designated driver. Oh, and also throw in some good food while you're at it.
Yeah.
Maybe some Dine West. I hear they got some pretty good options coming up this weekend.
Grub, dude.
Okay.
Be ready for it. Now, look, we're going to take a quick ad break, but when we come back, we're going to dive into some sports news. This is Sports Pack on the Wolf Sports Network.
You are listening to Sports Pack every Mondays and Thursdays from 6 to 7, only on Wolf Sports Network. Hey, do you want to be a part of Wolf Sports Network? Yeah! Well, I have some good news for you because you can join us. Woohoo! So if you want to learn more about this, go to wolfsportsnetwork.com and click WIT Sports Program. With becoming a WIT, you expand your knowledge in the sports radio world and join our ever-growing family.
New face over there, you're not tripping. We got my guy JT over here shadowing the board. He's running through the WIT program right now. Brandon, how you feeling, baby? Welcome to Sports Pack.
I'm feeling great being on here for the first time.
And we can't wait to meet you once you join us. Well, first we were a podcast to Wolf Sports Network's newest podcast. Then we turned into a live show.
Welcome back to episode 2 of the Triple Threat live show.
And this semester is our final ride. But don't worry, we're not going to stop with the action. From our debates in triple play and the best snake drops across the nation.
Dude, that's everybody's
Guess who's going first as my tight end? Brock Bowers. You don't want to miss out, so tune in every Friday from 11 to 12 only on Wolf Sports Network.
It's a brand new season, and you know what that means. A brand new series. Kool-Aid Jackson Cook. Mark my words, by the end of his career, Nolan Arenado will be better than Chipper Jones. Jackson Cook. New short series, exclusively on Wolf Sports Network YouTube. Kool-Aid Jackson Cook. Make sure to like and follow on all socials for more content.
Wolf Sports Network is going to have you covered with content for every day of the week, Monday through Friday. Sports Pack is bringing you all the news in the sports world today on Mondays and Thursdays at 6. Sports Out of Pocket is bringing you sports commentary with a comedic twist on Wednesdays at 5. And sit back and relax and grab your favorite snack because Triple Threat is bringing you the chill content on Fridays at 11. And we have a brand new show coming to Wolf Sports Network, The Playbook, where they talk about everything going on in the college sports world on Tuesdays at 6. So make sure you're tuning in Monday through Friday for all the content Wolf Sports Network is bringing you this semester.
Wolf Radio and Wolf Sports Network are proud to help reduce the 21% of adults with low literacy skills. We are collecting new and gently used books for every UWG pre-K student monthly. Give today by visiting wolfradio.com/bookdrive. That is wolfradio.com/bookdrive to donate.
The Dodgers introducing Shohei Ohtani after signing him to a record-breaking contract.
Nick Saban is retiring.
Breaking news on Sports Pad. We got a lot going on in the sports world right now, and something that we haven't touched on much this semester is the NHL and everything that's going on there. So the NHL is in full swing, and, you know, me and Schrader are big Oh my gosh,
NHL
words.
fans. Big
NHL fans. And one thing that's really going on right now, about to start on Wednesday, actually, February 12th through February 20th, is the Four Nations Face-Off. So it's basically kind of like a round-robin type tournament, and it's going to be Canada, Finland, Sweden, and United States, and all four of those teams are just filled with NHL players, so I'm super excited.
Okay, well, I didn't know countries competed against each other outside of the Olympics. What's going on here?
Okay, so this is what's going on, and I think the NBA needs to take some notes off of this.
Okay.
What the NHL is doing is they're not doing an All-Star game this year. What they're doing instead of an All-Star game is they're doing the Four Nations tournament. So you have the top four countries that for hockey. You have U.S., Canada, Finland, Sweden. And what are you doing? You're putting the top talent, the best players in the world, against each other in like a mini Olympics. So it's really fun. And if you don't watch hockey, this is a great time to start because you're going to get the best players. There's no snubs. I mean, this is like these countries are finding the best players in the world to go put on great product on the ice. So it's going to be one heck of a tournament. The U.S. plays on Thursday, so if you're looking for something to watch on Thursday, go watch the U.S. take on. I think we're playing Sweden. It's going to be fun.
So what sort of perks does the winner get outside of obviously a trophy or things like that? Do the players get like bonuses or something for winning the tournament? How does it go?
I'm not too sure. I think the big thing that they're trying to just do right now is grow the game. I think that's something the NHL's been on a mission to do in the last 5 years, and they have done a very good job at that. I'm not sure if there's bonuses. I'm sure there's bonuses. Definitely bragging rights because of most of these teams.
Country bragging rights.
Yeah, big time. Most of these teams, I mean, the NHL is a melting pot of countries when it comes to talent. I mean, my Florida Panthers have people from all four of these teams competing this week. So I think it's just bragging rights, more for fun, kind of to take a break from the strain of the NHL season and just have some friendly competition outside of it.
That's going to be dope. I might check it out.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's super exciting, and reading a little bit more about it. So, I mean, you have your regular games too, but there's also a really cool like overtime format. So it's basically going to be like a 3-on-3 sudden death, which is a really cool like overtime type of format, which we haven't really seen in really any other sport. So I'm really excited to see how that will kind of shift and change. But we're going to hop back over to some football. There's a lot of news going around about some players. First off, Deebo Samuel has demanded a trade, basically. He's not happy where he's at. So, Richard, tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, man, tensions ran really, really high this season. We saw videos of Deebo Samuel fighting the long snapper, fighting the kicker. Obviously, there's trouble in paradise in San Francisco, and this is really what everybody expected. Everybody knew that after they lost their second Super Bowl to the Kansas City Chiefs, that things are going to start falling apart. Maybe not because of personalities and egos getting involved, but because their players were aging. Like Trent Williams is on his way out. He's been the best one of the best offensive tackles in the NFL for the past few years now. Really for like the past 10 to 12 years, honestly.
Dude, he's been a dog.
Yeah, but he's about 40 years old. Deebo Samuel's style of play doesn't really translate to your early to mid 30s. So he wants out now. He wants a chance to win. He's obviously not seeing that the future is very bright in San Francisco, and he wants out. And the 49ers are like, look, man, find a trade partner, and we are willing to ship you. I'm currently sitting here looking at the FanDuel odds right now of who's most likely to land them, and it's the usual suspects, the teams that we've been expecting to get active in free agency, trading, and even the drafts when it comes to getting skill position players. We've got the Pittsburgh Steelers, who need somebody opposite side of George Pickens, the Denver Broncos, the Carolina Panthers, who are really looking to get Bryce Young, another reliable weapon. The Washington Commanders looking to add somebody to Jaden Daniels.
That
and
would be
also
insane.
The New England Patriots, who really ended their season on a high note. Drake May, as I mentioned earlier in the show, made the Pro Bowl as a substitute for Lamar Jackson. They're really looking to build around him because the future looks bright with Drake May. He ended the season very, very well. So I'm not really sure where Deebo's going to go. I'm sure the Chargers might be in the mix a little bit. But the only thing that concerns me is the way Deebo Samuels plays. He's getting older.
He's never healthy, bro.
Dude, he was injured pretty much this entire season, like the rest of the 49ers team. So if you're a team in the NFL, are you really willing to roll the dice on Deebo if you have to give up a lot to trade for him?
I wouldn't give up that much for him at all, simply because every single year he's out for a couple of weeks, no matter what. He almost has the trade value of a running back, which kind of stinks, but it's true. The way he plays, he basically is. He's a wide back, whatever you call him. So it's going to be really interesting to see this trade market, because if I'm a GM or in charge of this, I'm not throwing an arm and a leg out for him. whatsoever.
Honestly, what I would do, I feel like if one team was to get aggressive and go get him, it would be the Carolina Panthers. They really want to add. They really want to
I don't
add.
think he wants to go there.
But here's
they're
the thing,
not far from success.
Yeah, they're
bro.
really, really close.
not
They were
far.
a few big time plays and big time receivers away from winning some games last year. They were a drop catch from Xavier Legette away from beating the Kansas City Chiefs, the team we just saw lose in the Super Bowl to the Eagles last week. They were also a drop pass away from beating the Eagles as well. Like, this is a team that's very, very close. They have a talented defense led by star corner J.C. Horn. Bryce Young has shown that he is their franchise quarterback. But here's the thing. If I was the Panthers, I'd wait a little while.
Yeah.
I'd honestly wait until closer to draft day, really right around draft day, to trade for Debo. Because as time goes on, he's going to get more and more angry, more and more aggressive, really pushing to get out the door. And that's going to have the 49ers looking like, okay, man, let's just get him out of here. The same way the Miami Heat will want to just throw Jimmy Butler out.
Yeah.
They're going to be willing to trade him for little to nothing. And that's what's going to come up good for the Carolina Panthers. They'll be able to dodge giving away a first or second round pick, maybe give away a fourth and a few pieces that were pretty expendable to them anyway. That way they can keep their first round pick, add Debo Samuel, and still get a big-time receiver like Ted McMillan coming out of the University of Arizona. Now their entire offense is rebuilt. They have Ted McMillan, Debo Samuel, paired up with Bryce Young running back room with Chuba Hubbard, who they just re-signed, and Adam Thielen as their receiver 3.
There.
He's still there, man.
Dude,
He's still balling.
That right there is a very, very good team.
It's a solid
and a
team.
team that can compete in the NFC South overnight.
Anybody can compete in the NFC South overnight, man.
No, literally.
Not the Saints. Saints got nothing going on.
That is true.
Yes. So now that the Super Bowl has happened, it's done, it's over. I mean, all these NFL teams are just all eyes on the draft. I'm really interested to see how things will just shift throughout the NFL, especially with the recent news about Aaron Rodgers, who is unlikely to return to the Jets, which I feel like we all saw this coming. John, what do you think?
I mean, it kind of, I will say, I was the taddest bit shocked because I remember Aaron Glenn originally, when he became the head coach, he said he wanted to stick with Aaron Rodgers. But now they have informed him that they want to move on from him. So I'm like, oh, okay. So it looks like, obviously, you're moving on to the future. Now it's...
The trust issues would be crazy.
Maybe trust issues, but now it comes down to the draft. Are you going to go quarterback shopping, or are you going to go try to say, "Hey, maybe we want to wait a year"? I don't know if you really want
to. Jameis, baby.
Yeah.
If I'm the Jets, and I'm moving on from Aaron Rodgers, I'm gonna wait some time to really go quarterback now.
That's what I was thinking.
They don't really have the draft picks to really get super aggressive and get a guy unless they take a chance on a guy like Jackson Dart, who I really feel like is gonna pay off.
So much potential.
But here's the thing: with their roster, they don't need to groom another quarterback.
Nope.
They need to get a guy they can plug right in and win with. So if I'm the New York Jets and I'm moved away from Aaron Rodgers, I'm going out and I'm getting Justin Fields.
That's what I was thinking.
I'm going to sign Justin Fields like a 1-year, $5 million deal. Then maybe if a quarterback slides, like if Jackson Dart for some reason slides to the second round, then draft him as well, let him sit behind Fields. But with the roster that they have, they need a guy they can plug in, that can be dynamic. Their offensive line isn't the greatest, so bringing in Justin Fields will allow him to create outside the pocket, extend plays, still have good wide receivers led by Garrett Wilson. Still have Breece Hall at running back. Devontae Adams wants to hit the door, but adding Justin Fields to that young core, I feel could really help fix a lot of the Jets' problems overnight.
Yeah, I think what the Jets need to learn from this, and what every other NFL team needs to learn, not only from this Aaron Rodgers fiasco, but even what happened with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
I think that what happened with Tom Brady in Tampa Bay was one and done kind of thing.
Right.
I think that was a little bit of magic. I don't think that's something that teams should be expecting
That kind of
anymore.
proved that Tom Brady is indeed the GOAT.
Yeah, because you're seeing these teams throw an arm and a leg out for these old quarterbacks, and it doesn't work. And then the franchise is going, oh crap, new head coaches, a bunch of players went out because Aaron Rodgers, right? Aaron Rodgers brought so many people with him.
He had a list originally when he came to the Jets,
and when that didn't work out, because he didn't play like the Aaron Rodgers we know.
No,
he didn't play great.
He was a shell of his former self.
He was, and I think he needs to go ahead and retire too. I think he's getting.
If I was Aaron Rodgers, I'd also retire as well. There aren't any other situations in the league that are just plug and play. He'd be able to succeed, and even if they were, what did he show in these past 2 years? Torn Achilles his first year, and just a meh year the second year, exactly.
He wasn't
like,
great.
what did he show to general managers to be like, you know what, I'm going to go out and sign this 45-year-old quarterback? Like, what did Aaron Rodgers show to warrant him starting in the league next season?
Nothing.
I don't think he showed anything. I think it's just time to tip his cap and move on to the next level. But you talked about the guys that Aaron Rodgers brought with him to New York Jets. Devontae Adams also wants out.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing reports that he wants to go back to the West Coast. And I think if there's one team that has a great chance of landing him and he will fix a lot of their problems overnight, the same way I talked about Justin Fields, it'd be the LA Chargers.
Dude,
I think if you take that,
Justin Herbert and Devontae Adams, bro.
dude, and you still have Lad McConkey, who had an amazing rookie season as a wide receiver,
and Quentin Johnson.
Quentin Johnson showed flashes of what he can be. He's just not a certified wide receiver one. So if you take some pressure off of him by adding Devontae Adams, you let Lad McConkey cook from the slot just like he did at Georgia. He's shown he can work in the outside too. But now you give him the choice to go here or there. And then with Quentin Johnson still out there, a running back room that's going to improve even more because they're going to get aggressive in the draft. And they have one of a top 10, arguably top 10, maybe top 8 quarterback in the league in Justin Herbert. That's a team right there that can make massive strides by having a guy like Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams could change their dynamic overnight and immediately make them an AFC West contender with the Chiefs.
And they're not very far from this at all. They're one player away.
Exactly.
I mean, you saw this year, Harbaugh went in there and they played hardball, and
Yeah,
it was pretty darn good. So if they can get Devontae Adams to really open up that passing game, which then opens up that running game, that offense is going to be electric.
Yeah, I think they can take them to the next level overnight. Now, look, that is all the time we have for Sports Pack tonight. I appreciate all of you for tuning in. I'm your host, Richard Reed, signing off for Carly Pear, Jackson Schrader, John Halley, my guy Lim Winga checked in, and also my guy Keyshawn as well. He'll be making his on-air debut very, very shortly.
Let's go.
So if you like what you see from him just sitting there, stay tuned because he'll be on the mic very, very, very soon. This is Sports Pack. We'll be back on Thursday, same bat time, same bat channel. Have a blessed day.